got a radio with
162 and 164, slate 4, 5, 6, take one.
Mark. Action!
Beyond the River is one of those films that you want to see on a big screen. It's a genre movie. On one level, it's a sport film, and on another level, it's about people, and it's about togetherness, and it's about two men from totally diverse backgrounds working together to achieve an aim.
South Africa, as much as we wanted to be a Rainbow Bird nation, we've sort of gotten to a point where we're a little bit divided and we just gone back into our little comfort zones. The story really teaches us to sort of break those walls down and give people chances.
The story, it's one of a kind, bringing two colors together, black and white.
It really was a story where you'd had two people who, by learning more about each other, had managed to come together and achieve something that was actually quite difficult to achieve.
It worked really well as a story, because the initial story was pretty inspiring.
Because we move ngam. Ya ichinchi impilo yami ngoba nami ngoku istory sami sizoviwa ngapha ngaphandle. Ndaba nomdla kuba abantu bazobona ukuthi mina ndikhule kanjani. Hayi ukuthi ndivele ndaba lapha nje kanye ndikhulele efamilini bevele beyinemali. Ndikhulele efamilini vele efamilini beyizamela.
The film had a very strange genesis because my producer Robbie got a call from these canoeists and they had the story. Sort of an older white guy and a younger black guy from very different circumstances who teamed up to do the doozy and had a pretty unusual and amazing experience. What was essentially Piers and Siseko's story needed external drama and more character drama, so we took both of those characters and really moved them quite far from Piers and Siseko.
Basically, we've got a great story here, but you're too boring. I said, well, I told you that from the start.
I was very excited about the project. I enjoyed the script, and they got really good actors involved. Lemmo's amazing, so is Grant. A lot of challenges for us in the project, which was also very exciting and very interesting to try and solve those and get something that looks realistic on camera.
Technical challenges with this film, starting off with casting. Our leads had to be able to canoe. But we were more interested in finding the right actors and training them. We had an Olympic canoeist, Sean Rubenstein, who was their trainer.
Now the guys need to basically getting to a stage now where they need to develop the muscles to be able to do the technique properly. So they just need to practice, they just need to train. They need to get out here and paddle 3-4 times a week, 5-10 Ks, just to start developing those muscles.
Craig was very brave. When Lemmo and I met each other for the first time, none of us had ever even sat in a canoe before.
The entire process was crazy. It was about a 4-month learning curve, but I just remember the first 2 months, we just kept going and falling in and going and falling in. We just got to a point where we were just both doubting ourselves, like, okay, cool, the movie date's not gonna really shift and we just don't know how to do this.
We'll do more later.
We had training, but just went out and worked every single day. And the two of us together, we just started to get a good vibe and we just started to improve. Hopefully it shows in the film, but it was a long, hard road.
Working on water, incredibly technically challenging stuff. How do you film canoeing? Where's the camera? What's it on? You're on water, so you're on a boat and you're shooting someone else and they're also on a boat and everything's doing this, and you're unstable and they're unstable. So we had boats sinking with camera equipment on it, having to pull the boat in, everyone screaming, running.
Our first platform boat that we got sunk, and we couldn't use it. So straight away you go to the lowest fire solution, which is a bungee rig on a tin boat hanging off the edge and trying not to literally fall in the water. So at the end of the day, our biggest challenge was that we ended up shooting the film in one of the biggest droughts South Africa's experienced. There was no water. So a lot of ideas that we built and prepped and a lot of rigs that we built and prepped went out the window because of the drought and because of the water levels.
We had to get special releases of water. We had to trick some of the rivers so that it looked like they were in these big rapids, but the actual rivers at that time had no water in them.
We developed techniques where we would be on land with a very long lens, hold the front of the boat. They're going, they're canoeing, but obviously they're not moving. But the water's flying, and then we started getting somewhere.
I think it was absolutely awesome that we could still be involved in the making of the film. I remember sitting on the bank of the doozy. I was the stunt double for the actor who was in essence playing myself, and they were dyeing my hair and putting makeup on my skin and things to try and make me look more like myself.
I'm so in love with the movie because it is relevant to my true life story. It was a different role from most of the roles that I've portrayed. I'm not a gangster in a movie, but I'm an ex-con who is a mentor. So when I got the role, actually, they've also said, we casted you because you have a similar story.
Ukushuta movie kwakuyinto engazi, and then kuba uvela ufika ushuta movie uhambe, kanti ukushuta movie kwakuyinto enzima, into enkulu, ukubona nama-actors aphezulu, aba bantu aba-actayo, aba-acta inyani, nabantu abaphumelele. Kwakuyinto nje eyitshintsho empilweni yami ngoba ndibona abantu futhi babona mina, ndiyakwazi ukuthetha nabo, ndihlale nabo.
This morning we did a shot where 2 boats from me was the circle, and I'm just sitting there like, man, this guy, I've seen him paddle quite a few times, and he's a machine. And I just looked at myself, and I'm a little motor, like on a toy car compared to him.
This was one of my favorite processes filming this. Craig is an amazing director. Craig comes from a theatrical background, so he's somebody who really understands actors, understands how to work with actors, understands how to get performances out of actors without sort of beating it out of them.
I think Craig's style with directing, he's a very open director, open to suggestion, open to hearing what you have to say as an artist.
Directors like Craig are those kind of directors who give you a will to explore.
We had a week of rehearsals and we were able to suggest things and scratch some things which were bad suggestions, take things which were great suggestions, and it sort of makes it a collaborative build towards things.
The way he works with his actors, the way he treats his story, and the way that he works, I really, really enjoy working with him.
The crew were absolutely incredible. We had to move around a lot, and we had a whole lot of different locations, and as with most South African movies, you're quite pressed for time, but everybody pulled together and really made it happen. I can't say enough about Lemo Tsipa, what a great guy he is to work with, and every time that I'm with him on screen, I don't feel like I'm acting with a newcomer. I feel like I'm acting with a seasoned pro. He taught me so much. A young man like that, just the most incredible actor, and he's just gonna, sky's the limit for the guy as far as I'm concerned.
It's my first time playing a lead in a film, which is really great. I felt like I was ready for something like this. It's a really great dramatic story. I found it very challenging as well to not only play those parts emotionally and all that, but physically having to learn another skill and not just look like a paddler, but look like a professional paddler that can win gold.
Doozy's a pretty crazy race. I mean, the guys are on the water half the time, and the other half of the time they're running with a boat on their shoulders over mountains. We had to try and capture that energy.
We needed the film to have a kinetic energy. It's all very well to say that, but to create kinetic energy in film, your camera needs to be moving fast, and we use drones a lot.
I don't think we would have had a quarter of the production value without access to a drone. We could get establishing shots of the valleys, get a sense of where this race is taking place, fly over. The drone was definitely the right tool for this job.
We had to take footage from the actual doozy and blend it in with the footage of our guys.
Sometimes we were taking our boat and replacing it into other boats. We had also visual effects. We did quite a lot of green screen stuff.
I've never been a fan of green screen car work because it looks so unrealistic. To rig a car and rig the angles you need takes a huge amount of time we didn't really have. We decided that I think we had one green screen day in studio, and it's spectacular. It's some of the best. It's not even a conversation that you think it's green screen. It's just done that well. Nick's a spectacular editor and a spectacular storyteller.
Nick was just amazing the way that he started retelling the story with what works. We had this scene on this guy trying to cut cables off a pylon, and it was one of our biggest headaches, like how physically do we do this? And eventually we did it on green screen in a studio. When I saw what Nick had done with it, it's magic. Not for 1 second do you not believe that that's not a man standing on a pylon. Film has so many different parts to it, has so many different processes to it, and you engage with so many different people on different levels that add value to what you're doing. The really good stories, you don't write them, they write you.
What are you doing?
Trust me, I'm scared of those things, when.
What's that gonna do to you?
Bite me!
Hey, look at the size of it.
Hey, when the little ones have sharp teeth, it's like razors.
Yo, pick up the boat.
Now, Nina, you white people are crazy, when. You call your dogs nice things, fluffy. Me, where I come from, we call them Hitler, Rasputin, danger. Kim Jong-un. Things are dangerous, when.
I gotta say, I'm very excited about this movie. I'm very excited for people to go and see it. It's not just for canoeing people, it's for everyone. And I think that all the hard work that everyone's put into this project will show. And I think that everybody who goes to see it is going to have a really amazing film experience. And I think everyone's going to come out of there with a lot more than just watching a film. I think they're going to go out of the cinema looking at their lives in a different way. And I'm really proud of that.
It's a true South African story. I mean, it's based on the true South African story, which is amazing. And it's one of those things which a lot of people can relate to in the country, because you'll see a lot of different sides of South Africa in the country. It's also just a great story that we should begin supporting. I mean, we should support a lot of South African work.
When I watched it the first time, I felt so proud. We can go beyond. We have to consider ourselves as human beings than white or black or whatsoever.
I'm fascinated to see a film like this, which is quite different, actually. I can't think of too many films like it. So it's got a feel-goody kind of aspect to it, but it's also got a lot of depth. People will enjoy it. Just from the screenings we've done so far, people are very moved by the story and are responding to the film itself, the actors, the landscape. So it's definitely not a film about canoeing. It's a film about two people and their lives.